Welcome to Mama Children's Village. I promise that this YouTube channel will always give you all the content you need to understand your children, education, and every matter that concerns them. Today we are going to discuss something very, very important and instrumental in this day and era. We are going to discuss the boy child in a different angle. We are going to discuss the challenges the boys face in this modern society. We have Edward King, a counselor, a psychologist, a lawyer to be, and everything for the children. There is something that is really burning in society, like they say, the boy child is a bit different, or neglected per se, and we are speaking about children. What do you think are some of the challenges facing our boys? You as a young man, maybe you faced some of them previously, in first generation especially, but maybe you faced them and now you're seeing that the similar or same challenges these boys are facing that we should be aware of.
I think we have to look at the genesis of it all. A boy child was neglected, I think, 30 years ago, according to maybe the Ugandan system. I realized that when the campaign for the rise of the girl child cropped up, a boy child was neglected. You realize that in most cases, most of the policies that have been drawn for children, they do not favor the boy child. Boy children are sought after in education. Boy children are, for example, even in academics, there are those, I think, 3 points that are given.
The 1.5?
Yes, whatever it is, but then they have, they favor the girl child, not basically because they were academically poor, but I think they wanted to morale boost them and to really give them a base to stand and also to compete with the boys. Yes, that's very good. But then, like one person said, educate a woman, a nation is educated, or a nation is built. But how about a man, or how about a boy? Like the adage goes, behind every successful man there is a woman of a great character. But then you cannot have a man who can stand as a man and they do not see. When they look but they don't see, or when they see and they don't look. So we realize that boy children have been left behind in very many issues and aspects. So first of all, boy children have not been given a platform for a longer time. They think they are defensive. They can fight for themselves. And you realize that this has bogged down a lot of boys to an extent that they keep to themselves. And after keeping to themselves, they've become delinquents. Because they always sit down and think about what to do, when, where, and how, behind the backs of the parents. So they have to give themselves the psychological therapy and they have to give themselves still the physical protection. They fight, then they also cancel themselves down. So that makes, yes, they say women are strong, or girl children are strong, but men are stronger. And they hold a lot on them. So how I wish every parent had time to speak with the children, how I wish there was equity. Yes, in any way there is a perspective whereby it's equitable that children or both sexes are getting everything in the right portions, but still the boy child has been really put down. And this has led to the breakdown of their self-esteem. Today, a boy child or a boy cannot confidently speak. They are more shy. A boy cannot reason out something. Yes, girls have been given education, have been brought out in the limelight. But still we have to go back to the values of our nature, the naturality. We are Africans. And besides that, it is even in the holy books, a man is a man should be a head. So how I wish we give the values to both children, but then we have limitations. Yes, a boy is a boy. We've taught our children, girl, how to be engineers. Yes, it's very okay. It's very good. But then we do not help the boys to regain their esteem. Even in class, when a girl excels at mathematics or physics, and a boy fails maybe somewhere, a boy will always be termed as a failure, as a loser. And it really breaks down their esteem. So I wish we could still put these challenges in their emotions that you can do better. If a girl can do it, you can do better. I think these are a few things we have to look at to rejuvenate, to revamp the energies of the boys. That's why we have high numbers of boy child dropouts from school. That's why we have high numbers of boy children thinking about doing jobs, like odd jobs, before the age of 14. Yes. So he tells you, as long as I have money.
That is what matters.
Yes, that is what matters. But who of us would wake up and say, I gave birth to my son, I wouldn't wish them to be a software engineer, a doctor, an oil engineer. So I think we would wish our children to be better. But at what stage? How do we nurture them? How do we parent them? Do we give them what we give to them? Girl child. You realize that some families, a girl child is given maybe extra money than boys. Why? Because you would say that a boy is stronger. Who tells you they are stronger? They are not. It's just that.
It can the hunger.
Yes, we cannot. Actually, me, I went to school where even boys would cry.
Oh yeah.
They tell you they have sisters in the same school, but their sister, if you are giving them pocket money, you give a girl 50,000, a boy 30,000. Really? Why would there be a difference? Why would there be a difference? They're all children.
Okay.
They ought to have the same share. Give them a 50-50 so that they really know that they are loved, they are nurtured. Then test them by their abilities. How they use this money and how they survive with the motivation you're giving them. But because you give a boy 30,000, a girl 50,000, you realize that a boy will be like, okay, I have to survive my own life. They will steal. They will steal, and a girl will never steal. And also a girl will have maybe other favors elsewhere. For example, the aunties are sending some money to school, the uncles are sending, but still the boy child is never taken care of. That's why we have a lot of juvenile delinquency in schools, in community, because we've left our boy children to be survivors of situations. They think of themselves, they're like, I know when food is not enough at home, it's the girls that will eat. So I, as a boy, have to hunt. Then they have to look for chipomando. Then as he's looking for chipomando, has to go and do an odd job cleaning somebody's house. And cleaning the house, he doesn't come back early because he has to get some 5,000. And in the long run, before you know it all, at the neighborhood he's working, there is a gay. Before you know it all, he's being sodomized because he's looking for money. These are real things. Boys confess these things that I wouldn't be where I am now, but because I had to look for a life. Why were you looking for a life? Because at home I'm a minor. We are not looked into. So I had to survive. So they've always fallen prey and they've always fallen victims of circumstances. But because we are overprotective, all the eyes are on the girl child. Do you realize that boy children are also emotionally weak? Some men cry, some boys cry. Because they can't come and fight you or beat you, mommy, you didn't give me this. But they would get under their pillow, you'll never see their tears or they cry. They really break down. If you have children and if you have to take them in schools, at least make sure that if the selection of schools is on merit, yes, let it be merit. Whoever performs well in P7 should go to King's College, but why would you take a second grade child to a high profile school and you leave a first grade child to a middle or a grade school because you think it's a boy that's surviving in situations? Actually, it is even very proper if you have to nurture a child or children on merit. Then you're going to put a health competition amongst the children, both boys and girls. You tell them, be partial. Be impartial. Be impartial, don't be partial. Be impartial that if it's academics, you excel like this, I will give you this. Let them compete for that. If it's a holiday, maybe for the wealthy people, if it's a holiday and you want to, you tell them every holiday we go to Dubai, tell them whoever has some good marks for that term, I take them for a trip to Dubai. Then let these children, even if it's girls, let them go. If it's boys, let them go. And others will copy. And meanwhile, these ones who are failed to get the grades, encourage them, push them. But you realize that it's only the girls who have to go to the Disneyland, who have to go to Dubai. Then the boys are
celebrate the 16th birthday.
yes, and the boys are never thought of. You give the girls good phones, then you give the boys these button phones. And a boy will wake up one day and he has a smartphone. Whether he is scrolling, anyway he has got the phone. Then that's when you will wake up and ask this boy where did you get the phone. Then they become rude. Because they are trying to be protective of what they've earned the hard way, you've not given it to them, and they feel like you're taking it from them.
Issues of the boy child are not for the faint-hearted. People who have sons out there, you should widen your ears, widen your eyes, like, share, subscribe, and make the whole clan subscribe. For the matters of the boy child are really, really very important. And the things that we never take serious, but we take for granted, they're boys, they're hustlers, they're masculine, they're everything. But then we don't go into the nitty-gritties, like check on their emotions, they're equally our children. Brandon, there is something that I once met a boy child. Now I'm separating the children. A boy child, and he told me about some of the character, I would say call it character, traits they pick from schools, especially the boys. He was trying to explain to me in depth of the challenges the boys go. He spoke about sexuality and drugs. How has this affected the boy child? Oh, we always think it's the boys who rape, it's the boys, everything is negative. Is there a moment like the boys are just, are they innocent? Is it real? How do they end up in all these sorts of vices?
What I'm going to say about sexuality or drugs and children or boys, it's very controversial, but I'm going to tell you one thing. All our children are born innocent.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, it begins with the home. How do we treat the sexual conceptions and the sexual knowledge with children? First of all, for example, in this modern era, before we know it all, especially parents, yes, I wouldn't say that the digital era is very wrong, the gadgets are very wrong, but do we have limitations to the content that gets on the media, what they get on their phones? If you cannot have limitations, if you cannot monitor a system that monitors what these children are watching or doing on their phone, if your phone has no parental guidance or PG parameters, then just know you are getting doomed with your children at once. First of all, sexuality and boy children, yes, like any other normal child, they get to this age, but there is a loophole somewhere parents are not seeing. I've done exercises with children. Actually, a child of 9 years today, or a boy or a girl, they don't match more than what parents knew at 15 or 16. As far as sexuality is concerned, they watch, they Google, they search, they understand, and the last part of it all, they practice. And their practices, it's very, very even, very heartbreaking, that before you know it all, every practice they do about whatever they watch or hear is done in the house.
Under our nose.
To themselves. There is an issue that rose up, I think, a couple of years ago. We were somewhere in the hospital, and these two parents, actually the father was weeping bitterly and the mother was really in a very, very big confusion. It was the siblings who had impregnated each other. And when we tried to tap into what they were talking and questioning here and there, then it was the sister who watched whatever they watched and blackmailed the brother into bed with her. And these were children who are at puberty and adolescent, respectively. So you realize that there are things we overlook or we underlook. You realize that these are things that come within our homes. we ignore, or we think they do not exist. You know, the greatest challenge most of us have as parents, we don't want our children to dislike us or to hate us. Tutya abana okutuchawa.
We don't want
Tutya abana okutuchawa. We are not honest with our children, and we are not transparent. Because it's all about you telling a child. For example, our generation, or this generation, is very, very fast as far as technology is concerned, and as far as conceptualizing, analyzing, and seeing things. Because those days we would trust our parents.
They were already right.
100% that they were knowledgeable about a lot of things. But today we do not. All these children do not trust us. Why? Even when you tell them something, in their bedroom, they Google, what did mommy say, is it right? And when they find that it was a story that you developed, they will say that, oh yeah, because she wants this. They are too smart.
Yes.
So are we really ready to incorporate our analog errors, our analog understanding and way of seeing things into the modern era? Before we look at all these things, our boy children go to school very innocent. Yes, they are agents of these sexual vices like homosexuality and gayism. But we realize that, back to the other point of how we treat our children without equity, you give a boy child little money, you give a girl child more money. That our children have been blackmailed and seduced into these vices because of money. And why would our children have to fall victim of this? It's simply because you've taught them that they must have money. You did not explain to them how they must have money. You give children money. Why would you give a child who is in baby class an upkeep of 20,000? Yes, you have money, you have bags and bags of money.
Bags and bags of money.
Give them a coin. Yes, a coin is enough. Yes, they should grow and know the value of money. But at what age do they know the value of money? So a child knows that he has to have a red paper before they enter the supermarket. And he's going to buy maybe a few candies, Mentos, chocolate, and maybe a toy. So the day you give him a 500 coin, they will not value that coin. Not because you don't love them, but give them little money according to the age. By the time a child is given or conned with 300 into one action, first of all, it would shock them. At my age, why would I need a 300,000 with me? But because children, by the time they come to secondary, they have held money. Yes, so when the money is not with them, or when the money parts well with them, they would really want to have money. So you realize that no matter what circumstances, they have to go through, they have to get that money. So when you find such cases of maybe gayism and you ask what was really the impact, children don't enjoy. I don't think they enjoy because they really don't know. They really don't know, they don't enjoy. But the centers of attraction, the attraction part of it more. Someone tells them, we shall give you this money, we shall, and you realize a child is coming back home. They tell you, mommy, don't pick us. They pass through town, they shop. Before you know it all, you have a party somewhere. They wear nice shoes and they're like, really? I didn't buy these shoes. And where did they get these shoes? And at one point, if he happens to catch a malaria, that's when everything is going to be disclosed. That's when you're going to know that this child has been rotting under your roof. They've gone into a vice, they are using drugs, because they really do not want to do this. But because there are these factors, you gave them money, you do not listen to them. You know, parents today have this policy. She wakes up, opens the door, she looks in the corridor, hi, who is there? How are you guys? Are you fine? She walks out, she gets her keys, she drives off, she comes back, she locks herself in the bedroom. But do you have time to associate, to play with your children? Do you really know how mature are they with what they think? Do you really know how young they are in how they reason? You realize that a child may get into this problem, maybe they've been abused sexually, then they end up the only way to console themselves is to go again into drugs. Because they would feel like, wow, this is very, very horrible and I can't disclose to anyone. So they find their place of solace using drugs. Parents don't know that today, not only maybe marijuana and cocaine and other substances, we have also drugs in syrups, especially those syrups that are into virus, are coming down influenza, like cough syrups, flu syrups. They have an element of codeine. That is real cocaine. Yes, they look like it's just a syrup, but do you realize that some of the contents are sedatives? They make someone sleep and calm yourself down. So when taken in plenty, they become a drug, an abusive drug. So most of the children take these syrups in schools. They're known because if they can't access marijuana and they really want to be off, they will buy these syrups. And you would wonder when you entered your child's closet and you find a lot of syrups. And he tells you all the time. Yes. And he tells you, Mommy, you see I have flu, I have. But when he takes this syrup, he would go off like his dead, he would sleep. And one day, would you ask yourself why they would opt for this? Because you don't talk to them. So all in all, let's engage the children to avoid all these things. Let's engage our children. If it's sports, let them have their sports around. Let them play. Mm-hmm. Let's push these children out of the fences. Let them see the world. You know, we talk about these things, they do not know how these people look like. You can't tell a child that there is homosexuality when he can't move out, he can't be called, or he can't be approached by someone and talked to, and they really know what their intentions are. And at one point, because these people are very cunning, there is a way they handle them. For the first time, they would think it's just a friend. And when you ask them, who did you meet? And he's like, this person is just nice to me. He just gave me a watch. He gave me a phone. He says he wants to be my friend. And he had two phones and he gave me one. And then you would ask your child, really? And the child would also ask you, why would you stop them from being friends with this person? Because they didn't find anything with them. He's a cool guy. He drove me around. And
nice clothes and
he has
everything.
Nice clothes. And I think I want to be like him. Because he told me he's an investor. He comes here for holidays. Yet your child is going through a very, very terrible trap. So I think it's high time parents expose their children to the world. If they're in the holidays, walk with them. Send them to the town, follow them up in a distance. See how they hit on people. Let them struggle with themselves. Let them be pushed. Let someone call them. You see their response. Do they mind? Do they listen to this person? Do they inquire why they are being called or why they are given something? Do they resent or do they still take it in? Are your children or our boy children mature enough to say no to certain things or yes to certain things? But you realize that most of the parents are like, my child is young. A boy who is 16
is young.
Is young. A boy who is 19 cannot go do shopping.
Yes,
they can't actually do shopping. We've seen them. 20 years children cannot shop. Okay, men or women, girls, they can't shop. You give them a shopping list of 200 and you put an extra of 50,000, that is 250. And a child comes back home with some items like 5 not bought, the money is done, and the ones that she has brought are not really what you sent for. Because they can't reason, they can't bargain, they can't juggle the system. And then you say you're grooming someone who is sensible. If we are to nurture a boy child, put them in the field. The field is the best school for a boy child. If you're a father and you're a farmer, send them to farm every holiday. If you're taking course on a vocational class on you're a carpenter, work with them. Let them learn these things. If you do mechanics, teach them. As early as 6, 7, let them be field people. A boy, I don't think it must be a white collar person. Mm-hmm. Yes, we are there by default, or we are there because we went to school. But a man's brain is built on the versatility of the field they're in. Mm-hmm. So put the children in the field. Walk with them on weekend. If he gets to 16, 18, teach him how to drive. You drive with them on the streets. See how they control their emotions. See how they reason. How they look at people. You ask them questions here and there. Let's expose our children. They have phones, and we are very lucky that this generation, media and information flows very fast. Ask them, do you watch news? Call them, Peter, what have they said on the news? Yes, most of the parents today have extra TV sets. Yes, extra TV sets in the bedroom, they watch news on the phone. But as you're watching your TV in the bedroom, come abruptly in the sitting room, ask them, what did they say? My screen jumped. What was here? I didn't. Find out. But you realize you go in a home, father and mother are seated watching the news. A boy is somewhere on his WhatsApp and it's business as usual. Who are you grooming? You can't produce leaders who are incompetent, who are not knowledgeable. You see, what makes one a man or a boy of substance is being knowledgeable. I've always told youngsters about this. You can never be a leader, you can never be impactful in life if you're not knowledgeable. You can never. Because a lot of people are going to walk your way. What would you tell them? How would you solve their problem? And we are not problem solvers. We help people to create solutions to their problems. So that's the gist and purpose of the boy child or man. They do not solve every problem. You would come crying with your problem. Then they ask you, what do you think is best for the solution? Then you realize that even you had the solution, but you couldn't have the guts and the courage to get over it. So it's all about the boy. Give them knowledge, nurture them, put them into field. For the drugs, they abuse them as one, peer pressure will be there. The other thing is a source of solace, and it counts the biggest percentage.
Source of solace.
Yes. So banywa bakoserera garagara bino ng'ekikubagizo. Mami tafaayo, daddy tafaayo. Mami ali busy, daddy ali busy. So I think this is fun. Besides the peer pressure. That is if you happen to have this very, very tough parents. Mami ali bibi nange. Dad is always abroad, he's always on trips, he will never talk to me. Ask them. As a child is getting 11 years, what do you want to be? Let it be rhetorical. Every other year. Do they change their ambitions? If they change, ask them why do they change. John, why do you want to become a lawyer? The other year you told me you wanted to be a doctor. Then he will tell you maybe we had a career guidance at school, they told us this and this, and according to my performance. Then zero down to why the performance is poor. Give them the courage. No, this is very minor, but you can get this and get back to the track. Show them. But most parents are like, okay. Then the other year you call him, what do you want to be? I want to be a teacher. Okay. And it's very normal. Yes. Let's not take things for granted. Nurturing is not just for the sake of seeing a child, or parenting is not for the sake of just seeing a child through life. It's the values we impart in them. Let's give them the values. The generations may change, the eras may change, the reigns may change, but the values stay the same. I will always say that we cannot bring up white children in African bodies. Yes, you want your child to think like a white, you want them to do like a white, you want them to behave like a white, but they are Africans. Boy children would go and do the hard labor, like the hunting, the farming. The girl children would do the house chores, home economics, cooking. But do our children, especially maybe the girls, if I may go that side, do they cook? Do they know how to do the handicraft, knitting and weaving? Can a child of 16 organize the house? Do you realize that we have given our little children a lot of time on TV? That most of them we think, my child speaks good English, they are not speaking good English. Actually, it's a cartoon accent. Our children speak like cartoons. They reason like cartoon. There's a kid I was with some time back. I think he loved this animation called SpongeBob SquarePants. But the child was saying, when I go underwater, I'll bake my cake and I won't invite you. So I asked the mother, why does he speak like this? The other one is a fan of SpongeBob. So you realize that the mother sees this and they sees the child is reasoning and the child is 6 years. So this is how they see. Are we going to nurture such children? A child at 6 in the village tells you I have to go play football. Maybe I have to go and herd cattle with my big brothers. We have to go in the ponds to swim. We have at least to do some extra dirty games or dubious things like they go hunting. They know this is prohibited at home, but they will do it. Not because they want to be punished or because they are stubborn, but they are adventurous. We would always go out hunting, play, stay out long. And at least you know that I'm going to be beaten. I'm going to be given cold water to bathe in the evening.
With the grass all over my body.
Yes, and the body is very itchy. But a boy is staying in the storage house, watching TV all day. They even can't shower. They even can't clean themselves up. I've seen those things. There's one family I visited, and this boy was around Form 3 at a certain school here in Central. But I asked him, guy, why are your bed sheets dirty? And he told me, what is the role of the house help? So that's what he told me. But this boy was around 16 years. But the bed sheets were very dirty and was from school. So I asked him, how have you been surviving? He tells me that I'm given extra money or enough money from mom. And I think I can give these other boys who are not having money to clean up for me. Even his undergarments were really filthy, dirty. So you realize, and this boy is a 16-year-old.
A man to be.
Yes, and the parents look at him as the sole heir of the family. But this is who they've nurtured. Who only cannot even get a spoon to make himself a cup of tea. He doesn't know. You even tell him make tea, he can't know what is.
What's the process of doing anything?
They even can't know at what point does water boil. They have no patience that maybe water is ready. Do they know how to read the traditional light a sigiri? Do they really know? It's the electric kettles, it's the water heaters, it's the gas, it's the cookers. How I wish all the parents, before you give your child this life you think, get them to the grassroots. Teach them the hard way if you want to really get the best out of them. Prepare them the hard way to give them the best. Because if you really can't prepare a child the hard way, you can never get the best out of them. Most people think it's torturing. This is not torturing. No, not at all. Because I've always been challenged by some parents who say that our era was different. Yes, but did you die? Did you die?
Somehow we're about to die.
Somehow, but you are who you are today. You are recommended, you are loved, you are favored, you are always sought after by your friends, by your colleagues, by family, as a hardworking woman, as a hardworking man, as a very, very creative person, because this is how you were nurtured. So why are you grooming a problem to the society? You realize that in 10 or 20 years from now, we are going to have children, or men or women, who will be at work, who will always be rejected from the cooperative groups, social groups, and not because they are bad people, but they can't perform. Someone works with people maybe in Rotary, and these people are very low at how they think and how they develop and how they innovate and how they create. So you would realize that a few people would work together with whom share the mind, the way of doing things. It's better because you may have everything at home you need. But then, who are these young masters of yours who are going to take over after you? You have the wealth. In our African setting, it's majorly the boys to inherit and push up the family. You see, there are things we do not emulate, maybe from the foreigners, but Indians do it better. They nurture their children, especially boys, into businesses. You realize that girls are known to be marriage material, but if they are to be CEOs, they can be CEOs or managers, but the boys are always the backbone of the businesses. Because they believe every family, every lineage stands on a boy, and that's naturality. Since from the Bible, from Adam, men inherit, men push on the lineage. No man can ever push on the lineage. However much you have 1,000 daughters, yes, you may have all of them daughters, but every man would feel or would die desperate if they never had a son. Because they would feel like their line is done or is extinct.
Men, your line is coming to an extinct. If only we do not put our hands together and nurture the boy child as much as we nurture and parent the girl child. Like and share, because there is more information from where this one has come from. So share with your loved ones so that they too are not left behind on what is happening at Mama Children's YouTube channel.